The Fantasy Skirmisher.
Hey everyone, this is Nevin. Welcome back to the Fantasy Skirmisher. Today we're in for a bit of a treat. We're going to take a look at some vintage fantasy and science fiction miniatures, and I really don't know a lot about them, so if you do, please leave a comment. So the story behind me getting hold of these miniatures, which I'm borrowing, is that my friend Chris received a box of them from a friend of his, a guy named Pete. And Pete's older brother had passed away a few years ago. And he was the OG. And I'm not talking about original gangster. I'm talking about the original geek. This guy really was into, pop and geek culture. And so he was a bit ahead of his time, being probably the early 80s. And so, which is my guess, I'm not sure. But anyway, he painted up miniatures and he didn't use them for gaming from what I could tell. What he did is he created these wonderful dioramas in like geraniums using these miniatures, which I have some pictures. And so, anyway, I asked if I could borrow these, which he gladly loaned me, and that's why I'm here making this video. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and move down to the table. Now let's take a look at the fantasy miniatures first. And the one non-creature is this thing right here. Some type of orb. Looks like a disco ball, huh? Of course, that was the time, but very nice. And this is not metal, it's like a resin or something. We'll set that off to the side. And then we've got this, not sure what he is supposed to be, but it could be a cultist. Some undead type of wizard. I'm not sure here, but he's got a staff. And what's kind of neat, he's actually holding some hair. So it looks like his brush hair that was glued onto his hand there. It's kind of neat. And then we've got this Minotaur or Beastman. Really nice details, as you could see. I assume this is Games Workshop. That's very nice. And then let's reach back here. This one looks related. So it looks like some type of Beastman, giant horns. And it's been tainted by chaos, so I assume this is also Games Workshop. He's got the four arms, or the two appendages up here. And speaking of chaos, I know for certain this is Games Workshop right here. Very cool. Just a very classic pose here. Oh, he's got some painted on blood there. Greenish type armor. So I wonder what type of paints were used back then. So Pete's older brother's name is John. And I think I did a good job. This looks good. And we've got a loose sword. It's big. It was glued onto something. And I guess we'll get that figured out, right? And this is a really impressive looking mini. It's kind of weird. It's like some type of aardvark armadillo monster with some type of Cthulhu mouth. I don't know. Does anyone know what this is supposed to be? But whatever it is, it looks well armored. Very interesting. Also, do you know who made this? Just curious. And then now we have some kind of a dragon man, or so he's got the sword. I mean, is this something from Dragonlance? Not sure. So there's some writing here. Let's take a look. 1979. And I'm not sure what the words are there. Doesn't look like Partha. Yeah, because Partha. 1979. All right, so some of these miniatures predate the early 80s. Very cool. Love that. And then we've got, looks like perhaps he's an armored orc. Also really like the detail on this. Very nice. And then perhaps this is another Dragonlance type of, I don't remember what they were called, those kind of dragon men. And this is probably one of my favorite miniatures, probably my second favorite miniature. Look at the face on that guy. Look at how expressive this model is. So this just kind of throws out that Ray Harryhausen vibe, doesn't it? So this would be great with the Sinbad miniatures and a few monsters that I have, that fit that theme. So I may have to borrow this guy again for a future Sinbad episode. Really cool. I just love the armor here. Beautiful details. So again, that face, just very nice. And I want to guess that this is also Games Workshop. So it looks like an ogre here. And one thing I really like about this, he kind of gives off this Mongol vibe here, right? Kind of this Mongol aesthetic. So I just recently read a book on Genghis Khan and the Mongol Empire. Very fascinating read, and I know the Mongols got a really bad reputation for killing millions of people, but their society, was pretty open and progressive. For example, they tolerated all religions, and they hosted religious debates among, like rabbis and priests and others, and clerics, and they just asked questions and had a competition that way. Meanwhile, in Europe, of course, everyone was slaughtering each other over religion at the same period. And they had really diverse councils, royal councils. So it was very interesting read. But very cool model, love that. And it looks like we have a Jabberwocky, and he is missing his arm or claw there. I really don't know much about Jabberwockies, except they've got kind of a weird look to them, don't they? I mean, are they a type of dragon, or, I have no idea what they're supposed to be. And then we've got this golem type creature. It's kind of hard to see. He's painted dark, but he's got red eyes. You can see his teeth in there. Very long arms. long lanky arms, and they've got big claws on them. So I know this isn't Gollum, but what is this? I just love the vibe of this. Kind of has that obviously old school fantasy type vibe. And I think this is my favorite miniature. I mean, look at the face on this guy. Does this remind you of anyone? This dragon reminds me of the one on the second edition of Talisman, illustrated by Gary Chalk, which I'll post right here. Just great expressions. I would love to get a hold of one of these myself. And the last two are flying. So as you can see, you've got kind of like a strung like a Christmas ornament here. So that way in the terrarium, you could have these flying dragons. And this one is mounted. And finally, get off my squeaky chair here. Another one that is strung with fishing line. Pretty cool, huh? Now I did a search for like vintage miniatures, things like that, and I did not find a good website that would help me identify what some of these miniatures are. If you know of any good websites for that purpose, please let me know. And now we're going to take a look at the science fiction miniatures. So let me stop the camera. All right, we're back, and we got some science fiction minis. And we'll start with this large piece here. So it looks like some type of obviously bike that's well armed. And you've got a couple guys who are that fit on the chairs here. They're not glued on. There you go, but you kind of get an idea. So my friend thinks that these minis might be like pre-40K Games Workshop. This thing is a lot of metal here. It's heavy. So if you could confirm that, or if you have another, if you know what this is, just please let us know. Another bike. And then we've got, these look like there's, this guy's missing an arm, but in Star Wars, weren't these called Wumpas? So it looks like these models may have been inspired by Star Wars here. Really neat. And of course, I just found what would fit on here. Same with this guy. Of course, that last rider had an arm missing, if you noticed. But this is, yeah, really neat. So they got the backpacks, a sword, rope, things like that. So it looks like it'd be a fun way to get around. And then we've got all these minis. We'll go through these a little quicker. But, they are definitely smaller than 28 mil. They're not 15 either. So I'm not sure, what the scale is supposed to be. Maybe, is it supposed to be 25? But one thing I noticed about these, they kind of give me a Thunderbirds vibe, because the proportions, they look like puppet heads. Big puppet heads on smaller bodies. But yeah, I'm really interested to know where these minis came from and what they were used for. Kind of like that green armor. So, got his shirt off. Kind of a jungle fighter here, huh? And this one does not fit. It's based, excuse me. And he's just got a bit of a different look to him. And let's check these out. These are really cool. So, what are these? Pre-Tyranid Tyranids? Let's see if I could change it. Oops, all right. Let's see if I could change the focus here. But I do really like the look of these, but they're a lot smaller than 40K Tyranids. They also kind of got the bodies of duck-billed dinosaurs. And then we got the last three guys here. More of the same. Got these, well, except for this one. What if that was the original head or he put one on? And finally,
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.